Evangelion Rebuild movies are a tetralogy of films expanding the story of Neon Genesis Evangelion and End of Evangelion. Today's spoiler-free review covers what these films achieve and who should watch them. This video should be safe for anyone, regardless of whether or not you've seen the original series, but I won't explain the fundamentals. For that, you're gonna have to check out my series review from many years ago. I enjoy the original series, but when it came to the Rebuild movies, I watched the first one and patiently waited 14 years for the rest of them to be completed, a choice many thought was strange considering I already owned the first 3 movies on Blu Ray and just didn't watch them. At the time, they didn't concern me because I was basking in the abundance of other completed anime. As far as I was concerned, I've already seen the anime ending and I thought these would be a remake, though it wasn't until today I realized how wrong I was. The first 2 films probably confused many into believing they were remakes of the original series due to their numerous parallel plot points. Like the original, they begin with Misato picking up a confused Shinji so he can get in the damn robot and defend the city from angels that also look identical to the original series. To me, the Rebuild movies felt like an Evangelion New Game Plus, where the characters carried over all of their skills and unlocked the true ending route around the halfway point. Although players in a New Game Plus are aware of the story and their retained skills, the characters themselves are not. I also felt the characterization in the first movie paled in comparison to the original events. Still, since this is not a retelling, they only have to get the gist of the situation and let our memories fill in the blanks. Therefore, I think movie 1 achieved the perfect balance of pacing and exposition by not redundantly explaining the basics, yet still giving enough information for the inevitable new viewer to not be lost. The second film blasted away my expectations by diverging from the initial plotline with a resounding crunch. From that point on, the remainder of the Rebuild showcases the mind-bending, existential absurdity which popularized the original. I won't pretend to analyze the Rebuilds because that aspect of the anime is honestly not important to me. Thankfully, the Rebuilds are enjoyable regardless of your level of involvement in Evangelion lore. If you enjoy the character development and mind-breaking struggles in the original, there's much more of that here. There are even times when characters witness such traumatic events that they spontaneously vomit at the sight of their triggers. Throughout the Rebuilds, we receive some brilliant flashbacks which fill in our enormous gaps for Misato, Asuka, and even the enigmatic Gendo Ikari, which surprisingly became one of my favorite scenes out of nowhere. In addition to their trauma and flashbacks, many characters also experience a great degree of emotional growth. My favorite minor arc from the films are when the pilots are stationed at a small village and Rei learns to farm, as well as other minute social details we may take for granted. While I can't say much, I will say that Shinji's personal development impressed me the most, not only how much he grew emotionally, but also at the rate he grew, as the Rebuilds represented numerous stepping stones for his development that never felt rushed, in my opinion. Although my favorite characters from the original were Asuka and Misato, the Rebuild movies gave me a whole new appreciation for them. It enhanced everything I already liked about them while also providing further information to fill in the gaps. They sacrificed so much, yet continuously shouldered the immeasurable burdens caused by Shinji's mistakes or cowardice. They put on this front of a stone-faced warrior who'd stare death in the eye without blinking, but the movies did an outstanding job of further fleshing out their characters through backstories as well as subtle verbal hints. I initially expected them to be strong, but the Rebuilds reinforced their strengths by occasionally highlighting their weaknesses. The strongest person isn't the one who's unfazed, but the one who's continuing to fight despite their shortcomings. In my opinion, Asuka's role was just as crucial as Shinji's, as she's always there fighting as it gradually eats away at everything she is. Although she's an antisocial loner, she repeatedly finds herself rising to the occasion of being the sole line of defense against the total extinction of humanity. I honestly felt bad for her because they did such a great job at depicting how much stress she was under. If you love the original anime for its action, then the Rebuilds will undoubtedly impress, though not consistently. What made the original so impressive was its impact of weight and depiction of destruction with cell animation. The Rebuilds use a lot of CG, and while I'd argue it never looks bad, there are times when it does look better than others. In my opinion, the second and third movies look the best in regards to the mid-battle CG animation. There's this whole new aspect of Evangelion I've come to appreciate through the Rebuilds, and that is its camera angles and background art. This was the only aspect of the entire series of Rebuilds that never ceased to impress me. The ruined architecture, sprawling nature scenes, and even the transforming city were constantly mind-blowing to me, and just as enjoyable when we watch every piece of beautiful scenery get demolished with massive explosions. While some may disagree, I consider its ending to be complete and emotionally fulfilling. If they never added anything else to Evangelion from this point on, I would still be happy. My only major complaint from the rebuilds is that I wish Mari would have received greater development considering her significance. If movie 3 were 20 minutes longer, then it would still be on par with the rest of the rebuilds, yet would have given them enough time to add more Mari development. I give the rebuild series as a whole an 8.5 out of 10, but this could have easily have been a 9 if they did more with Mari. I consider the rebuilds to be a must-watch for any Evangelion fan without having to rewatch the original. If you're new to Evangelion, then you'll still enjoy the rebuilds, but this will likely come at the cost of your enjoyment of the original series, so I'd recommend not watching until you finish the original anime and the end of Evangelion. So what were your thoughts on the rebuilds? If you enjoyed the review, leave a like and share with a friend so that they can experience the wonders of the true end of Evangelion without being spoiled. Thanks to Nia-chan for third tier support, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another anime review.